Welcome back, sports gamers. It's the Natural. Got a new Madden 21 analytics video for you guys today. If you don't know, these Madden 21 analytics videos will break down the game more centered towards franchise players, but also can help you in your head-to-head picking your teams and knowing what player to really attack and go after. And we can kind of look past overall ratings to the ratings that really matter and break down and create formulas to better help you understand and really get to the bottom of what teams are the best fit for you in Madden franchise and beyond. So today's video will be about the best young teams in the game. Gonna take a look at the 5 best and the 5 worst, and then go over the full chart so you guys can see how we rank all the teams in the game based upon our YPI, or Youth Power Index, which is designed to look at the amount of players on the roster 26 years of age and under, and evaluate how well the roster is set up for success in the future. Starting right off with the Cleveland Browns coming at number 1. They're in the top spot. They also were in the top spot last year on the list according to the Youth Power Index. And the Browns are powered by 5 players, 85 overall. They're one of 3 teams that have that designation. Their edge comes from 9 players in the 75 to 79 overall range. This is consistent with a lot of the top stronger teams in the game, and we know they have really good players. I mean, it's well known they would have pretty much one of the best teams in the game last year. They've fallen off a bit this year as far as overall, and people like Baker Mayfield dropped as they went over the season, but they're still really good and really young, and they have superstar players in all the right positions. If you can get Baker Mayfield back to superstar, the Browns they're pretty much set up for major success as you go through your franchise. Moving on to number 2, we have the San Francisco 49ers, and they just missed out by half a point in catching the Browns to number 1 spot. However, they made a leap from their number 13 spot in last year's rankings with 4 players in the 85 to 90 overall range. The 49ers have serious firepower for the future, and what's crazy is that they're already one of the best teams in the game, and then on top of that, they're young. So I mean, this is a top-ranked team with top-ranked young talent like Fred Warner, and we all know the fact that they have one of the most amazing pass rushers in the league, and those guys are locked up for a bit. One of the best tight ends in the game with Kittle. They have a stable of blazing running backs. I mean, and of course one of the best corners, shutdown corner in the game, Richard Sherman. This team just has it all. And moving on to number 3, we have cover athlete Lamar Jackson, his Baltimore Ravens. And of course, with him being on the cover athlete, he's going to get that cover athlete love, and he's a ridiculously dynamic player in the game. But also, they are a young team, and they have a lot of young talent. The rest of the roster is carried by 7 players above 80 overall. Then they're young players, and it's a good showing for being second in the league with that many players at 80 overall. So they're a solid team from top to bottom. They might not have the upper echelon players like some teams, but they have the cover athlete, and they have a lot of good solid young players that surround him. And Mark Ingram is dynamic at running back. Their receiver core, they're young, they're fast, they're dynamic. Same thing with their tight ends. And their defense is a really good, strong defense. They're just a really good team all around, and they're young. And number 4 on the list, the Dallas Cowboys, anchored with 2 elite offensive weapons in Amari Cooper and Zeke Elliott. And also the new rookie coming in, CeeDee Lamb, also a superstar ability. So they are just set as far as skill position players. And we know the offensive line is just ridiculous. But they have plenty of youth on both sides of the ball. They also possess a strong base of youth with a total of 10 guys between 75 overall and 85 overall. And we know this team is always stacked with talent. Whether or not that translates to success in real life, it usually doesn't. But on Madden, they are always a top team. And they're loaded with a ton of talent, especially still one of the top teams in the game. And Zeke was coming right back into form, but now they have the pass scheme to go along with that. With those receivers, it's just Dallas is going to be nasty again. I mean, they're young and they're good. And the number 5, last of the best list, the Washington football team. Make sure I get their name correctly. The team formerly known as the Redskins, coming in at number 5. The second NFC East team on the list, and probably the most shocking in the top 5. The Redskins are sneaky good in terms of youth. While they lack the 90 overall plus players that people gravitate to, some of the better teams, they possess 8 players between 80 and 89, ranking the best in the league, and they are young. And they have one of the most athletic front sevens in the game there that you can get with Montez coming off the edge. And we know that they drafted Chase Young, and he has a superstar ability. And with that athleticism, and once you get abilities on top of that, it's going to be ridiculous. Haskins, depending on how you view him or not, he's going to be a franchise quarterback. But I mean, he's still on a cheap contract. I will build him up, and you can grow him into a superstar type style quarterback. He can be a difference maker for you. So they are sneaky good. A lot of people don't realize that the Washington football team belongs in this list as far as one of the best young teams in the game. All right, so we went with the youth, and now we got to go to the old guys. There's some of the older teams in the league, and the worst on this list who have the lowest youth power index. Starting off with, surprisingly, a team that was so good just a few Maddens ago. They were a top team, and so quickly how things change in the NFL. The Rams, and this is so shocking me to see because they were good just not too long ago. So they were just in the top 10 a year ago on last year's list. The Rams have now bottomed out all the way to number 28. Jalen Ramsey is elite. However, the lack of talent in the mid tiers from 75-89 really bring the Rams down to the bottom of the list. They still have elite top tier talent when you talk about Aaron Donald or Jalen Ramsey, two of the best of their positions. And Whitworth is also great on the offensive line, but he's old, 37 years old. And when you start going on the line, a lot of their good players are older, and a lot of their young players are just not good. So once you get past those top upper echelon guys, the Rams really fall off, why they're on the worst list. Number 2 on the worst list, the Chicago Bears. Another top 10 team from a year ago who find themselves at the bottom of the list this season. The only difference between the Bears and the Rams is a single player in the 90+ tier for the Rams versus one player being a below tier in the 85-89 overall grouping. The Bears have some big decisions to make at the quarterback position with Mitch Trubisky, and if he's not the answer, not your guy, then I really don't think that they have anyone in place that can really lead the charge and really develop well. So you're gonna have to draft and bring somebody in. Allen Robinson, he's 26-year-old, he's good. And Fuller's at 27, he's getting up there, but and Khalil Mack is already 28. He's already near his 30s, and we know 30s years old and plus when guys start falling off and start regressing in Madden. So Bears, number 2 on the list, one of the worst as far as youth. And number 3 as the worst, the Patriots. Now there's no one is surprised by this one. They are consistently one of the oldest teams in the league, checking at the same exact spot as they were in last year's list. The Patriots just slightly missed out on the Bears by a 1/10 of a point due to lack of players in the 85-89 overall tiers. Even without Tom Brady, who's moved on to the Buccaneers, they are still old. Bringing in Cam Newton, that's a plus, but at this point, even Cam Newton is kind of getting up there, and he's also tough that he lost his superstar ability, so that hurts. But that's something you can get back. You should be able to get back in a season with a quality season with Cam Newton. Julian Edelman, 33 years old. I mean, this team is just old. Moving on to the Vikings, they're actually top heavy with the player in both the 90+ and the 85-89 overall tiers. The issue with the Viking is the lack of youth in the next 2 tiers. The team probably would have been much higher if it had not been for the trade of Stephon Diggs. And this team, again, one of the most important positions where you want to be young at is quarterback. And Kirk Cousins just isn't that. A veteran quarterback in Madden doesn't develop as fast, and then they have those big fat contracts. So it's just what you want to get a young quarterback, you want to draft a quarterback, and you want to develop your team while they're still on that first contract. That's key. Harrison Smith, one of the best players in the game, but he's 30 years old. Cook, young, great running back. It's good. You're good there, but when you get to Thielen, 29, Hunter is young. After those first couple of young guys, they really fall off. And even Rudolph He's 29, almost at 30 right now at tight end. So definitely one of the old teams. And the last, and they're gonna be last on a lot of lists because this team is bad. The New York Jets. This is not only a bad team, it's a bad team that lacks talent and is younger players. Only one player on the list between 80 and 99, and they got rid of him. So it's they're even worse off than they were before. That they have this terrible team, and they traded away recently Jamal Adams, so they don't even have that. So they're even going to drop more points on the list than previously. So they led the league in 26 players and under between 7 to 75. However, this is more depth tier than star tier. So they got a ton of young players, but they all suck, which is why they're the worst on the youth power index of players who are young and good. All right, so let's take a look at the chart overall, and you guys can see how all the teams kind of rank up, going from the Browns at number 1 all the way to the Jets, and it's kind of, really kind of close there. You can kind of, from that top rank 1 to 7, we run to 9. They're really fairly close to each other, but you can start to see a really big drop off once you get down there, and you can see just how bad the Jets are. They're even lower than that now. They traded Jamal Adams, so they're just a bad team, and they have no good young players as well. So they're just really by far they've taken the Dolphins spot as the worst team from last year. The Jets are definitely the worst team at Madden 21, and you can see the full list there. I won't say there's no surprises. There's definitely some surprises on here. I thought the Broncos would rank higher. They drafted, they got some young guys in the draft, led by Drew Luck, the quarterback, but their rest of their team is pretty old. The Raiders, not surprising. I know last year they definitely were up there. The Eagles, I thought they wouldn't be as low as they are. The Panthers, another one. I mean, the Cardinals. I thought the Cardinals would definitely be higher up. They would not be so low, because when I think about Cardinals, I think of Kyler Murray and a lot of young receivers and young guys, but like a lot of parts of their defense, other positions are old, and it's not just the age, it's the how good are their young players. And a lot of these teams are young, but the players, either they didn't draft well, or they haven't developed well, or they're just not rated well in the game. So it's more about how well that team drafted, how well they're rated, than just having an old team. Because the Patriots have as far as overall, they're good. They're just really old, and they haven't really developed their young talent. They don't have any really good young players. So that is it for the. Hope you guys enjoyed this. We got some more Madden 21 analytics coming your way. Let me know how you feel about these rankings and these analytics in the comments below. If you enjoy our content here at SGL, like, subscribe for more news, reviews, and tips from your favorite sports games. Want to take your game to the next level? Join us on Patreon and become SGL Insider today.